Our story begins in a faraway land, sealed off and forbidden to enter. A desperate young man brings a corpse with him, a girl he loves and would do anything for. Shadow of the Colossus, if I were to define it with one word, it would probably be somber. That's a tone that's extremely rare in video games. The fact that Shadow of the Colossus does it is part of the reason it's so beloved. Our protagonist has no name given to him from within the game, but the Japanese title is actually Wander and the Colossus. So, our protagonist is Wander. Pretty apt, isn't it? We're here with our massive black horse named Agro. We place our love on a pedestal and a voice begins making deals with us. It's called Dorman and tells us it can bring the girl back if we slay 16 colossi. Like so often is the case when dealing with demons from another dimension, there's some kind of price, but let's not worry about that right now. So how will we slay these massive creatures that are older than the mountains? With a magical sword, of course. Why couldn't it have been a magical AK? Would save us a lot of climbing. So we head off, go through a brief tutorial that shows us how to ride our horse, Agro, as well as jump, climb, roll, and oh my god, we can use arrows that don't deal much damage, but they do get their attention. So if you were under a rock and hadn't heard of this game, the enemy size is one reason the game is so famous. Normally in video games, especially at the time, you'd take down big enemies by hacking at their ankles. In this game though, you climb them and stab them in the head. The sense of scale was also unbelievable at the time. It's less dramatic today, but I was lucky enough to play this game close to its release, without knowing anything about it. For myself, it was mind-blowing, and memories like that you just can't recreate. Which is the main reason I'm not a huge proponent of remakes. Unless the game is difficult to obtain or play, it's pretty easy to go back and play classics you missed out on or want to experience again. Most of the games I've played in 2022 have aged just fine. I will say though, although I haven't played it, I hear the PS4 remake of this game is quite good, so if you are interested, I see no reason why not give that version a try first. But anyway, stabbing these guys in the head. Do it enough and they go down. You even get bonus eldritch tendrils corrupting your inner being. Neat. Is that the screams of the damned I hear? No, that's just Agro taking us to our next Colossus. Joking aside, the game has a beautiful open world. There's nothing really to do in it, but this wasn't developed by Ubisoft. It was actually made by Team Ico, creators of Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. Our next target is on top of a floating island over a large lake. When it strikes, you can run up its sword thing. For the Colossi, you can only really climb on the furry parts. You also have a stamina circle in the bottom right. It'll decrease the longer you hold on tight, so it's a balancing act between resting and climbing while on top of these 100-foot tall creatures. Every one is a puzzle as you make your way to their vital part, as that's the only way to deal damage to them. This vital part is signified by a glowing marker on the creature's body. Shadow of the Colossus at its heart is a puzzle game. The action gameplay is just in service of that. You have Bull Colossus, Doggo Colossus, flying sand snakes, and flying water birds. 16 of these guys is a bit much, but it doesn't really feel like it since each one is so dramatically different, both in terms of cosmetic design as well as gameplay design. What works on one will not work on another. The game doesn't really have much of a story as you fell the 15 colossi. Slay one, get the tendrils, wake up back at the temple, rinse and repeat. Like I said though, it doesn't feel like a chore because the battles are all so varied. And now with just one Colossus to go, Dorman tells us we're close to having our wish granted. As we're coming up on it, we come across a bridge. Allow me to be a snob for a second. I really like this part. The final step of the journey, and we just sacrificed aggro to their presumable death. It was unintentional, sure, but tell that to them. Aggro didn't choose to come with us. They didn't choose to go on this quest, in this forbidden land, helping someone who's stricken with grief. Is Wander really in a healthy enough state of mind to make these choices? If you've ever lost a loved one, be it a family member, friend, or even a pet, you know it's a time when you're not at your best. Regardless, aggro came with us and did everything they were asked of. And what did that get them? At the bottom of a shallow river. Wander looks up towards the plateau that holds the final colossi, his face marked with corruption. We could go back for aggro, check on them, but we came here with a goal, and what's a sunk cost fallacy between friends? So on we go. The final Colossus is the largest yet. It's also immobile and is basically a small mountain. It has these ranged homing missiles it can fire, which are super annoying. Use the terrain as cover, get to the base of it, and we start climbing. It has a weak point on its back, which allows us to jump to its left hand. We then attack a weak point on its left arm, which allows us to jump to its right hand. From there, shoot an arrow into its shoulder, jump to the shoulder, then climb up to its head for the final weak point. Stab it a bunch, and it's mission complete. We fall unconscious as we're corrupted one last time. Back at the temple, some humans from wherever we came from are here. They followed us, but are too late. We're teleported back to the temple, fully corrupted and sporting some small horns. The humans try to stop us with crossbows and swords. We begin bleeding just like the colossi, and Dorman uses our body to resurrect himself. Turns out Dorman was split into 16 colossi and put to sleep as a way to seal away their power. We get to control Dorman, but it's pretty horrible. He's so slow, and all you do is follow these guys as they flee the temple, back the way they came in. We can attack, but you'll never catch them. You can also roar, which takes like 3 minutes to do, and the movement sucks. And I hate every part of this, it's just a terrible part of the game. The leader takes our magical sword and throws it into some water, which opens a portal thing. We hang on, revert back to Wander, and try to reach our love. The humans escape back across the bridge as it collapses. Back at the temple, our love wakes up. The resurrection actually worked. I bet she's pretty confused. It's aggro, he's okay. Well, he has an injured leg, so that's probably not good considering they're a horse, but small victories. And with that, the credits roll, marking the end of Shadow of the Colossus. But wait, there's more. The girl and aggro find a baby with horns in what was the small pool of water. Maybe we've been resurrected, but changed. The girl takes the child and the three of us begin to leave the temple. But my question is, where are they going? The bridge was the only way in or out. Won't they just die out here? That's pretty depressing to think about. Anyway, that's the game. If you made it this far, consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching. I'm TUNUH, and I'll see you next time.